back upstairs. I went back upstairs and I actually told him, I was like, oh, I'm bleeding. And then this whole time, when I told him, what did you put in, you know, what did you put in it, when I told him about the cut, blank face, no emotion, said nothing. And so he just put a band-aid on, and then I don't know, he just started singing again, and I was just like, you know what, I'm out, I'm leaving. So I ran downstairs again. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I have really bad allergies. Okay. And I went into the car. And I drove to my niece's house that was 5 minutes away. And I just remember the whole ride home, or to her house, it was yellow. Now this is the first and only time that this has happened to me, this experience. And it was everything, the whole world was yellow, had a yellow tint to it. And I just remember thinking, like, man, everything looks so weird. And I went to her house. I freaked out. Like, I'm like trying to calm myself down, not to hyperventilate, you know, trying to control my breathing. And I get to the house. My mom was there at my niece's house, and I'm like freaking out. I'm crying. I'm like hysterical. I said, Mom, you know, I told her what happened. I said, he put something, and, you know, she's just like, okay, you gotta calm down. And like I said, I hadn't been eating, so she tried to get me to eat, and I said, no, I can't eat, because like I said, I felt like I was gonna die. Like, I could not eat. I felt like it was gonna hurt me. And I said, I just want water. I want ice water. Like, it had to be with ice. And so she gave me a cup with ice water. And they're the big square cubes, you know, that you have in the trays. And I look and I see, like, I don't know, let's pretend this is the cup. I see the ice, and there's this white powder on top of one of the ice cubes. And I said, Mom, what is that? And she goes, what are you talking about? There's nothing there. And I said, no, look, it's right there. And she goes, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Like, look, there's nothing there. And I was just, she was trying to tell me there was nothing there, and I was trying to tell her there was. And so I said, look, and I went like this to wipe it off, and it was on my finger. I saw the white powder on my finger, and I had taken half of it, so there was like a swipe through it. And I said, look. And she goes, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And I said, okay, fine. If there's nothing there, then you drink it, you know? And then she just looks at me like, what? She goes, okay, fine. And so she drank some. And I was like, okay. And, you know, it kind of made me feel better. But I was still hesitant because of what I saw. Like, and I saw it on my finger. Like, I could, it was like so real. And so I think back and I laugh now, but at the time it was scary. It was. Um, and so I that night she tried to give me some rice. I did not want to eat, and she says, "Eat something. You need to eat something." And all I ate, like, I am not joking you, like, seriously, all I ate was 1 grain of rice. That's it. I did not, like, that's all she could force me to eat was 1 literal grain of rice. But honestly, that's all it took. Because over the next few days, I was eating. But at the time, like, I'm not even joking. It was literally 1 grain of rice. And so I, like I said, I was staying at my niece's house. Her place at the time was in the ghetto, and like there was, you could see light from coming from the outside all around the door. You could basically see. And I stayed in the living room. My mom did too, because we were staying the night. And my mom, like, I was sitting up. That's how I was gonna sleep. I just had the cover over me, and I was just gonna sleep like that. And my mom was laying next to me with her head, like, right next to me, and her feet away. And when you go through a breakup, man or woman, I think maybe women do it more, I'm not sure. But when you go through a breakup, you tend to want to search people up, that person up, and see what they're all about, and this and that, and 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 so that's what I did all night. And I guess it wasn't all night. But it was getting late, and I remember finding pictures of him on Facebook that I had never seen on accounts that weren't even his. Like, I don't even know how I found these accounts. I guess only God led me to these accounts, because they were not his, but they were definitely his picture, just without glasses. He has like really, really thick glasses. But I do know that he did not always wear glasses. He had like an eye, like a retinal detachment. And so, anyway, I found pictures, and there was one picture that really stood out, and it was a picture like he was at a party or something, and he's like in the camera like this with 2 thumbs up, and he's like that, and he has white all around like this, and I want to say it's coke or something. I don't know if it was drugs or if it was paint or what, but he looked like the Joker, okay? I mean, it was like all over his face. And even though I hallucinated, even though people would say that all this is made up, I still thought logically and rationally, because I thought, no one's gonna believe me. No one's gonna believe me that I saw these pictures. So what did I do? I downloaded them to my phone. That way I had proof. And so I did. this is gonna, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I'm just telling you my experience. And so, like I said, I was looking through accounts that weren't his, but it felt like they were about him, or he was talking to people. And there was this thread, like a comment section, I guess, and it was like people talking, and it felt like they were all men. And it was a bunch of people talking about cats, but it was like it was code for women. The way it was like being spoken, I don't know how to explain it. And so it was like people saying, "Oh, I found 2 strays. Oh, I have 7 cats. And this and that." They were talking like strays, like as in, I guess, wild or loose women. I don't really understand that part. That's just my guess. Or maybe unmarried, or something. I still don't know to this day what that exactly meant, but it was like, I have 2 strays. Oh, I found her, and this, this and that, and then people were saying like, oh, I have 7. Oh, I have 9. Oh, I have this. Oh, they were just kind of like, you know. And then I felt like it was my ex talking, and he said that he had 7, I think it was, and then he goes, but this one, I felt like he was talking about me now. This one I like a lot, and can I keep her? And another person, like if it was the leader or something, I'm not exactly sure, was talking back, and they said, as long as you bring her to the family. And he said, how long? And then they said, no, he said, how long? And then underneath was like 8 question mark, and then underneath it said, like they were answering him, and they said, no, 10. And then that was the end of that. So this will come around later. I'm just trying to give you like but this story, this thread I read comes into play later in my life, much later. And so, like I said, I saw this, and he made me think so much. He made me think he was cheating. He made me think, just a lot of different things about him. And when I saw that, I said, oh. And I put my phone down, and I stuck it underneath my leg, and I leaned over, and I whispered in my mom's ear, and I said, Mom. And she goes, what? And I go, I think he's a spy. Like, and she goes, what? You're crazy. Go to sleep. And so I was like, I didn't say anything after that. I was just like, okay. And I swear, like, not even a minute later, I get a phone call. And the number was like 16 digits long. It had like no spaces. It was just a bunch of numbers, which I think is a computer number. If you call from a computer, it looks like that. I'm not exactly sure. I could be wrong. But I just remember it was a bunch of numbers. And I had this weird feeling it was going to be him. And so I picked it up. I didn't answer. And it was. it was him. And he says, "You think that you would make a great spy?" And he was like laughing at me. And I was like, "What? Like, what is happening?" And then he says, then he started saying some things, but it started breaking up, but I could still kind of like guess what he was saying. And he was saying that if I don't come out at midnight, that he's gonna kill my nephew where I was staying at. My niece had her son there. Um, well, I guess he's not my nephew. I don't know what he is to me. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. But it was her son. It was my niece's son. And it scared me because he was a gun owner. And so um he it scared me, and I freaked out, and I started crying. I hung up and I started crying, and I told my mom. I said, he's gonna come kill Max, and it was it was it was tough because I was like, I didn't know what to do. And so whenever he her husband went and searched the property and made sure that no one was there. And so he said, no, it's okay, because he was also a gun owner. So he's like, I'll keep a lookout, but right now there's nobody on the property. Like, there's nobody there. I said, okay. And so I was still kind of scared, like, okay, what if he comes at midnight, like, this is weird. And so midnight rolls around. Everybody's asleep. I'm still awake. And I like I said, this house, it was ghetto. You could see everything. You could see the lights outside. We were on a main road, so you could see the lights, the cars passing by. And at this time, there was really no cars. There was hardly any traffic. So it was noticeable when there were lights on there. And a car pulled up, stopped in front of the house. I hear the car door. And then I hear there's a window in front of us, and then there was the door. And I'm looking right at the window and the door, and I hear like someone walking in the grass. Like, I guess with sandals, if that makes sense. It was with sandals. Like, it was more like like you would with sandals. And I hear him go up the stairs. It was like 3 steps. And I see the light kind of blocked. And I freaked out, and I covered, with the cover, and I was like trying to pretend like I was asleep, but I was like, I had it just to where I could see what was going on. And so I didn't come out, and finally I hear a sigh. But it wasn't a relieved sigh, it was more like a disappointed sigh, like I didn't come out. And heard him pull the gun to get it ready. I heard the little click. And then I was like, I was scared. Everybody else was asleep, but I'm listening to this, and I like I said, he sighed, and then that, and then eventually he just went down the stairs, and I heard him leave. And then I heard again the sandals against the grass, one by one. And then I see, as if he was ducking, I saw just the top of his head go across the window. And I was like, oh no. And then later, I hear the car passing and leaving. But that's not the end. That's not the end. That's just the beginning. You know, and then around that time, he was like, he told me once when he was like, that, it was rolling, and we were in the car, and, we're sitting next to him. I'm in the passenger, he's in the driver, and then he tells me, Carmen, my past girlfriends, he had 2 girlfriends before. I was the 3rd. He said his past girlfriends used to tell him that he was the devil. And at the time, I thought it was such a silly thing. It's not, I was like, that's weird. Why would they say that? Because I still really liked him, and I was like, why would they say that? You're not, like, that's crazy. And he just, that's what he would say. Just no emotion, no nothing. That was the first time he said that. I guess I'll stop there. That's already an hour. I'm probably gonna have to break it up. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.